So you say you are an open book, and Mariah Carey is now looking as though she's, you know, pulling down the curtain, getting rid of the facade. How do you think this will play out with the public?
I think I'm absolutely over the moon that she's been really open about it, because even after the first interview that I did with Phillip and Fern, back then it was such a taboo, such a dark area around it, and now someone like Mariah Carey, who's got such a high platform, that so many other people can start talking about it as well, and she's got to help herself and help others as well.
Yeah.
Why, can you understand why it's taken her so long to be able to talk about it?
Definitely. I think because the stigma that surrounds mental health, people think you're crazy. If you can't see something, you don't understand it. My psychiatrist said to me, let the public know you've had a drug problem, let them know you've had a bad childhood, let them know all this, but don't let them know you've got a mental health issue, because if they can't see it, they don't understand it.
And listen, are those areas separate? I mean, you described drug problem, bad childhood, bipolar. Is there any overlap there at all?
I generally think there was, and I also spoke to my psychiatrist about this, and he said it sometimes goes very much hand in hand, because I'll get so hyper. Even now, I'm on no medication now, not that I advise anybody to do what I have done. I have my triggers and my tools. So say it's sunny, it's a nice day. It can be 11 o'clock in the morning. I'll get so hyper and think, oh, I could just have a bottle of cava. I have to stop myself. So I don't do that anymore. But back in the day, it was, oh, let's go get some cocaine. That's what it was. You get extreme. You're kind of chasing that buzz of mania.
What's the difference? So you could just be, you know, addicted to alcohol, addicted to cocaine. Why does the bipolar have you're saying the bipolar makes you crave other things?
No, I'm not saying it makes me crave other things. My mood swings are more extreme. So when I'm hyper, I'm very, very giddy and a million miles an hour in my head, and I want to do 10 different things all at once.
Yes.
And you're chasing that high, because you know when you've got the high, you're going to get the low. And because of my surroundings at the time, drugs was a massive factor in the people who I was friends with. So that was one of my choices.
You know, I remember you know, you're one of my favourite people, and you know you are, right? And I worked with you many, many years ago.
Yeah.
And I didn't know you had a drugs problem or anything else. I just thought you were a pain in the ass. Right? I remember because there was a thing we did, and professionally you caused a problem because you turned up really late.
Oh, I know what it was, yeah.
I'm talking 6 hours late, 7 hours late on a rehearsal day, and the whole crew standing by, and whatever it is. And I remember thinking, and I couldn't help not like you, but I did think to myself, and you see, that's the same thing with Kerry, what's her name, Mariah Carey, and you wonder, is it her? I used to think it's the people around her.
Well, you know what that was? I was actually going through the breakup with Brian, and no one actually knew about it, and I was so heartbroken, crying, and I had eczema around my eyes. And my makeup artist, I couldn't come on the show because my eyes were that clogged up. That's what that was, actually.
When we talk about Mariah Carey, you know, there are all these stories, don't there? We don't know if they're all true, but they're all stories about how she's so demanding, and she demands kittens in her dressing room, and she sat outside a hotel until they got a red carpet.
For me, I think bipolar is a part of who you are, and I understand that she doesn't want to be defined by being bipolar, as I don't want to be defined as being bipolar. Even though I'm a very hyper person, people always go, oh, she's dead giddy, she's loud, which I also think is a little bit of my mood swings, because there's no in between. I have met Mariah before, and I've been in a dressing room, and it was very, very much like everyone thinks. You know, she was laying on a couch, spread across like this with perfect lighting, and people handing her drinks so she could have a drink of it. But I also think that is part of her industry, of what she is. I'm not going to say that's because she's got bipolar that she makes these demands, because I've got bipolar. I certainly don't make demands like that. I think people have to draw a line under it sometimes and understand the difference to your personality to an actual illness.
Let me ask you about being in the public eye, because, you know, that interview on This Morning, everyone says that interview, that was a defining moment for you. This is her defining moment. She's come out, and now everybody's talking about it. Has that followed you around? Are you glad, in a way, that it came out then? Or do you wish now people would stop talking about it, or stop showing it like we do?
No, you know what? I'm very happy it has happened, and I'm very open. I'm an honest person. But for me, because back in that day when it did happen, everybody judged me. You know, I sat there and Fern was like, are you an alcoholic? And your speech is slurring. I said, well, I've got bipolar and it's my medication. And what upset me so much was not once did anybody say, what is bipolar and what medication are you on? Next thing in the papers, Mary Carey, Sherry Carey, you know, Kerry's drunk again. And it was like, it was 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, don't let the facts get in the way of a good story.
Yes, and that's what it was. And you can knock me down, Eamonn, but you can't keep me down. And I'm so glad that I kept coming back.
Talking about you going down, right? So bipolar, bi means two, right? So you talk about the ups and the hyperness and all this thing. Tell me about the other side, the down. The lows,
they can be quite difficult. I mean, there were times when I can stay in bed and people who don't understand bipolar, if I'm in bed or anybody with depression or who suffers with, you know, mental health illness and they're in bed, they go, oh, it's attention seeking. Oh, just get up and get over yourself. It's as severe as saying to somebody in a wheelchair, get up and walk.